Now I'm going to talk about the running backs. And this week I've actually gone with a guy coming off injury, which is always quite risky. But again, if you looked at his previous kind of games, it's not so risky. And that's a guy called Gus Edwards. As mentioned before, he's just come off an ACL injury last year. But 2 games ago, when he did come back and he did play up against the Cleveland Browns, he did have 16 attempts and 65 yards, basically clocking in at 4.9 yards a carry. Now, this week he comes up against the 28th ranked defense against running backs, the Carolina Panthers, who are giving up in excess of 25.95 points against running backs. An absolute running back's dream. This week, I believe he's actually going to be the best running back this week. You look at the fact that Kenyon Drake, sorry, is still there. Yes, that is a hindrance, but again, the number one running back in this Ravens defense is something to be valued. And again, a team that can run the ball with a great offensive line against a team that's going to be literally on their knees, who are halfway into the off season, just especially defensively, are not going to be able to stop Gus Edwards. So I think this week is actually an absolute smash play this week, and I just think he's going to do fantastically well. So yeah, I think he's definitely my play. Che, who have you got?
Well, I've got the Detroit Lions, Jamal Williams. I just think that right now we've figured out that Jamal Williams is going to be their starting running back because they can't really rely on the fitness of DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift is heavily utilized in both the passing and the running game. However, with Jamal Williams, it's interesting enough that he's only had as for the stats, he's only had I think about 21 receiving yards all season. But you guys will have to look that up. But as for what I saw, they're very few yards. So really, they like to use him on the ground, and they like to use him as a pure runner. And in this offense, I think they're going to need all the help they can because the New York Giants are excellent against the pass. They're probably statistically they're looked at as mid-tier, around about 20th against the running backs as well. 21st, sorry, 17th, I beg your pardon, against the running back. They're about middle of the pack. However, the pressures that they tend to exhibit on the passing game, and also the fact that they don't give up a lot, and the Giants actually um, provide a lot of pressures, but they don't cause a lot of turnovers. They're not the flashy defense like your Dallas Cowboys, like a lot of these other defenses like your Philadelphia Eagles, but they are very low key underrated. And so because of that, I think that the Giants do well against wide receivers. Again, I believe statistics, the Giants are number 17 against the pass as well. So they're about middle of the pack against the pass. So yeah, they're going to try and take away the pass because Detroit have an excellent passing attack and they like to throw the ball around. And I think that Jamal Williams is going to absolutely feast them tomorrow.
Yes, that's actually quite a good pick. Actually, in terms of Jamal Williams, we know DeAndre Swift is there, and his emergence is kind of inevitable. Do you think that's going to cut into his time being the running back? Because I think at the moment we all know that Jamal Williams is the running back two or the handcuff to Swift. Eventually, they're going to give Swift more kind of reps as he comes back from injury. Do you think that's going to cut into his time, or do you think this is Williams' job to kind of hold on to?
I think, as the saying goes, availability is the best ability is availability, and I think for consistency, especially in a run game going into the winter months, being the former tight end that he is, I think Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions will want to have a consistent running back. Any head coach would, but especially a tight end um, or ex-tight end coach like Dan Campbell, because it just stabilizes the offense and helps to open up the playbook and potentially help the likes of Jared Goff to be able to have that extra time of possession, and Penei Sewell and the rest of the offensive lines to be the aggressor. We know that Detroit offensive line are a mean bunch, and this helps them to be the aggressors, helps them to be more aggressive on, with the D lines that they face. And so because of that, having a pure runner assist that offense in doing that. And I think you'd find that as the season goes on, DeAndre Swift, while he'll be grafted back into the squad, I think you're going to find that he's going to be used in like a Shane Vereen type role, former Patriot, where he's like a third down specialist, and his special packages where he runs some intermediate routes or he'll be a check down option and some, some special run options as well, but very limited. I think this is Jamal Williams' job to lose now, as he's got great spirit, great energy, but also he's a damn good runner. And he's averaging at the moment about 15 to 16 rushing attempts per game. So he's about that running back one type sort of productivity, and he's extremely productive off of those carries. He's gotten 604 yards this season, so that's a high productivity, and it's looking like almost 6 yards an attempt per carry. So it's bordering around that sort of amount. So yeah, I mean, I think his output is very, very high. Why change it?
Definitely, I couldn't agree with you more, especially the availability, especially in the NFL. And I think because he's made himself available, he's kind of carved himself a major role in this offense. I mean, just finally, I look at Jamal Williams, and the talent's obviously there and the opportunities there as well. But again, this Giants defense are ferocious, and the fact that they're eighth against running backs is something to kind of look into. But again, great player, talented guy, and it's going to be someone that's going to get the opportunity. So as mentioned previously before, it's obviously you to decide, guys, who are you going to pick moving forward in week 11?